Once you're done watching this video, you're going to understand that every single thing you were taught in school was a lie. The subjects you were taught, the rules you were fed, the dreams you were sold was all a big fat lie. And this was intentionally done to keep you poor and a slave until the day you die. But tonight, I'm gonna tell you everything. How the school system started, how they brainwashed you to forget who you truly are, and how you're going to break out of it to become rich, wealthy, and successful. But first, to understand how they brainwashed you in the first place, you have to understand how the modern day school system was first created. Why did your grades matter? Why did you have to take standardized testing? Why did you have to show up to school every single day, or else your parents get in trouble? Have you ever even stopped to ask yourself these questions? You probably haven't. But first you have to go all the way back to 18th century Europe, 1777, when the Prussian school system was formed. This was how the world changed. For those who don't know, Prussia is today's present-day Germany. And back in the day, school wasn't compulsory. People just lived their lives however they wanted to. If your dad was a farmer, you become a farmer. If you wanted to go after a certain trade, you did that certain trade. But after losing a couple wars, the Prussian state did this all for control. You see, they wanted to make obedient soldiers, ones that followed orders without any questions, without any thinking, just did whatever the state told them to do. And this made the Prussian army one of the fiercest of its time. But now here's where things get a little bit interesting. So there was an American man called Horace Mann. Yes, that was his name, Horace Mann. And he saw what them boys were doing over in Prussia. So he said, why don't we bring this system over to the United States? And just like that, all your dreams and goals disappeared. The present-day American school system was born. The Industrial Revolution is still booming. But now is the time you get to meet John D. Rockefeller. I'm sure you've heard this name before, but you probably don't know a lot about him. What you need to know is that at one point, this man owned over 95% of America's oil refining, which means he was filthy fucking rich. But why is he so important? In 1902, Rockefeller gave the National Board of Education $129 million, which now made school mandatory for both you and me. So now we're all handed over to the state. Our parents no longer have autonomy over what we learn and what we don't learn. The state becomes your only guide for knowledge. You see how things could go bad. But Jason, what's the problem? School made people literate and gave them the opportunity to feed their families. Yes, you're completely right. School does have its upsides, and that's another video for a different day. But when I tell you how they brainwashed you to forget who you really are, will you understand? Go back in time when you were a child. You were very creative, you were very inquisitive, you wanted to know and do everything so bad, it drove your parents mad. But you see, that's how God designed us. We're creative beings and we're meant to create. But the school system took that away from me. John D. Rockefeller said, I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. The American system was designed just like a factory to make you an obedient factory worker. Just look at the classrooms, dull lighting, assigned seats in a row, you can't speak until you're called upon, you can't go to the bathroom without raising your hand, don't leave until you're told to, and don't even think about showing up late. Or else, you're in trouble. AKA, you're getting fired. Now let's take a little trip down to memory lane. Remember when you were in kindergarten, everything was all colorful, everything was all good vibes, all mix and match, or rainbows. Now I want you to think about what happened when you moved on to first grade and second grade. It was all bland, barely any colors, it looked like a prison cell. They started assigning us in rows. That is where all the conditioning started. As a child, you're meant to sit in your seat for 8 hours straight, like a good puppy, pay attention to the curriculum, write your notes, take your test. Oh, and maybe you get a half hour of recess if you're being good. And if you're not able to sit straight for those 8 hours, or if you're not able to pass their test, they label you or they drug you up like any of this is normal. This sucks the living hell of creativity out of you. Your ability to think for yourself. Because you start becoming afraid of judgment and you start becoming afraid to get a certain grade. Then they ask you as an 8-year-old what you want to be, expecting you to say an engineer, a lawyer, an astronaut, like an 8-year-old knows what the fuck they want to be. They don't even know themselves. But if all these things I've said doesn't seem like a problem to you, maybe this will. Have you ever asked yourself why they never taught you about money in school? Do you think this was just a coincidence? Do you think this wasn't planned or anything? No? It never crossed your mind? Well, it's simply because money equals freedom. You weren't taught about money because it gives you power over them. They realized that growing up, if you understand the game of creating wealth, you will never work for them for peanuts. They realized if you understood finances, taxes, investing, you would become unstoppable. Imagine if they taught you that money was fake and that it's printed every single day. You wouldn't be giving 80 hours of your life every single week to an employer who couldn't care less. They would quite literally replace you in a couple days if you died. This is the reason they don't teach you about money in school, nothing else. So now you've learned how the modern day school system was formed, how they brainwashed you and intentionally stole your freedom. Now you're gonna learn how to break out of these mental chains, become a free thinker, and use that to bring success directly into your life. That's why the number one thing you need to become successful today is your creativity. So I asked ChatGPT, what is creativity? Creativity is the ability to generate new ideas, new concepts, new solutions that are original and valuable. It involves thinking outside of the box. This doesn't need to be hard. Just like everything else, creativity needs to be practiced. It's been chastised and beat down for so long that you don't even remember how creative your younger self once was. You had all the dreams in the world, but somehow you're telling me now you're just an introvert who wants to work in a cubicle for the rest of your life? I believe God created you for more than that. But you still don't know how to become rich by being creative. But don't worry, because I'm gonna do all the work for you. I asked ChatGPT, how do I make money by being creative? And it spitballs a ton of ideas that you can go through and see which one fits you best. This is where your trial and error phase begins. And you have to embrace it because we're playing the long game. You see, I tried dropshipping for years and years and I couldn't seem to just make it work. I kept on trying until I found something that clicked perfectly for me. I started creating content for brands. You see, I make TikTok shop videos for a living, and on my worst months, I'm still making over 10K per month. A brand sends me a product, they pay me a flat fee and commission based off how good I can sell the product. The better I am at hooking an audience and appealing to their emotions, the more I sell, which means the more money I make. This is a real world skill. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise. And in my opinion, it is categorically the easiest business model to start today. But I'm not here to tell you which high income skill you should learn or which business model you should dive into. That's entirely up to you. But watching from the sidelines is no longer acceptable. Learn a high income skill. There's tons of videos on YouTube, tons of free courses, and even paid courses. I took one paid course and it took me from making 3K at my job as a substitute teacher to making over 40K in just 1 month. This is how valuable your creativity is for you. I'll go ahead and link that course that took me from making only 3K to making over 40K in 1 single month. The younger version of you depends on you becoming something. And quite frankly, you don't have much time left. I'm officially handing the torch over to you. It's time you make your dreams become a reality. Like and subscribe. We're just beginning.